which is scheduled for about 8 o'clock. So things are taking place here, and as you comment, the other uniform bodies that we see on parade so far, we have a small contingent from the fire service, we have a contingent from the prison service, then we have a contingent of guides, brownies, and rainbows.
Yes.
And no boys brigade at this time. But I am a man of hope. I do believe that you know, in the future we will see those organizations revive.
I think we ought to live in hope.
Yes.
Yes, and let me just talk about the parade appointments. The parade commander today is Captain Glenroy Foster, ED. The parade 2IC is Lieutenant Darian D. Daru. Platoon 1 will be led by Lieutenant Kelvin R. White. Platoon 2, Inspector Kirk Braid. And Platoon 3, Lieutenant Jelani Griffith. Commander of Platoon 4 is Sergeant Deverson Semper. And Platoon 5 will be led by Jeremiah Guilford.
Yes, and that's a young cadet, what we call under officer,
yes.
Officer in training.
In training,
and,
yes.
and I always like to highlight these young ones coming up, taking senior role, and with the hope that they will eventually stick with it and get a commission and may go off to Sandhurst or someplace to get formal training and come back as one of our leaders in these uniform organizations.
Yes, that's what continuity is all about.
Mm-hmm.
The parade sergeant major is none other than Barry Carlisle Williams. The flag orderlies are Sergeant Micah Hilton, Sergeant Ryan Daru, and Sergeant Chevron Charles.
Yes, and so they're all in place as we speak, taking their rightful position. So well, this is, as you say, I know that they would have had some rehearsals ahead of time. It was not that easy because I know the Senkits unit came in, for example, on Wednesday morning,
yes.
And the unit from Antigua came in on Thursday.
That's the band.
Right. So they were able to do a bit of a, should I say, rehearsal on Thursday afternoon. Normally we would have it like this evening, the evening after the parade, but it was held last evening, where we had the formal announcement of persons who were awarded by the King in the King's birthday honor. We say hello to Mrs. Dulcie James, who have been awarded an Officer of the Order of the British Empire. Yeah. And the unit commanders or the officers, as we'll say. Right, so Lieutenant Darrow is now in charge. The CSM is taking up his position on the right of the entire parade, where he will now give some orders. I'm not too sure if the orders will be streamed as well, and the music from the field will be streamed so that, you know, we could get a chance, the people who are listening can hear directly.
Yeah. Well. And I think they'll be ordered to fix bayonets in a while.
Yes. Again, just to reiterate, this is a formal parade, the main parade of the year on Montserrat, to celebrate the birthday of the sovereign. On this occasion, we are celebrating the birthday of the King. The third year in a row that we are doing that since His Majesty the King would have ascended to the throne.
And time flies. Huh?
Yes. And again, one of the questions that keep coming up is that we are celebrating here today on the 14th of June, but the actual birthday of the king is in November. But you know, during winter time and that time of the year, it's easy to do certain types of parade, and as a matter of fact, it is a few days after the official Remembrance Day parade. This is another big event in itself. So efforts have been made to keep them separate and continue the tradition of having the sovereign's birthday in June. Her Majesty the Queen, the actual birthday was the 21st of April, but she celebrated it also in June, again because of the summertime and the being able to get the troops together at that time of the year. So the parade, twice, Lieutenant Darrow has dressed the troops, and they're all standing at ease. So I think now moving on from here is the
hand over to
to hand over to the parade commander. Yeah. Okay. So we have also on the side we have the Commanding Officer of the Royal Montserrat Defence Force, Lieutenant Colonel Alvin Everton Ryan, and Commissioner Mark Payne. They are standing at the side because the official duty will begin on the arrival of the vehicle of the acting premier, where they will greet and take the acting premier to her rightful place. We will explain that when that happens, and then they will come back and await the arrival of the governor. Exactly. And they will stand with the governor throughout the entire process for the day. Well, if you're just joining us, you're listening to us here at Salem Park. We're bringing to you live coverage of the King's Birthday Parade. It's today, 14th of June, and it is celebrated in most territories. I did say at the beginning, yesterday it was celebrated in the British Virgin Islands. Yes.
But they're preparing to fall in the officers now.
Yes. Okay. So, and the officers, you would have called their name in terms of the officers who are leading the units on parade today.
Yes. Darrow is there already. The parade twice, then Lieutenant Kelvin R. White, Inspector Kirk Braid, Sergeant Davison Semper, and the officer in training, Jeremiah Guilford.
Okay, right. And they're in the rightful position while they await the parade commander now to take his position on the parade grounds. The parade commander is passing the tent, and we refer to this tent as the tent of the VIPs, where all the ministers of government and special invited guests who would sit under that tent, right on the parade square, or pretty much off the parade square.
Edge.
Yes, where they can have a first-hand view of what is taking place here this morning. And in him passing, he paid respect to all the those who are sitting there who are entitled to a salute. The Attorney General, the Acting Financial Secretary, the other ministers of government. The substantive premier is currently off island on duty, so carrying out those duties today is the acting premier, Mrs. Veronica Hector, who will be arriving officially soon.
And the financial secretary is also
off island. Yes. Attending regional meetings.
Yes, and I think Alvin Weeks is acting financial secretary at the moment.
Right. Okay, so we keep saying that we're celebrating the King's Birthday Parade. King Charles II of the United Kingdom and 14 other overseas territories, and he's king for the United Kingdom. His reign also extends to countries that allow that. So we have like Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and quite a few of the Caribbean islands still recognize him as the sovereign. He ascended to the throne on the 8th of September in 2022 on the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. King Charles' parents, as I said, Queen Elizabeth II, his mother, and Prince Philip, who was the Duke of Edinburgh, who passed away back in 2021 or thereabout. Yes. He was born on the 14th of November 1948. So he's 76, and his next birthday will see him becoming 77. Right? He is married to Camilla, who's the Queen, and they got married in 2005. Before that, he was married to Diana, Princess of Wales, and that union lasted from 1981 to 1996. His children, you have Prince William, who's the Prince of Wales, and Prince Harry, who's the Duke of Sussex. He's now living in America with his family, and he has about 5 grandchildren from my count. Right? His siblings, Prince Andrew, his brother, who's the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, Duke of York, Princess Anne, Princess Royal, she used to be known as, and Prince Edward. He's I think is the Earl of Essex. So this is, those are the key members of the royal family, but primarily the focus today is on the king himself as we celebrate his birthday.
And while you were speaking, the officers have been called in, and they are now getting ready to receive the dignitaries.
The dignitaries, right. So we see the Colonel Alvin Everton Ryan and Commissioner Mark Payne now taking up their position at a point where they will wait on the arrival of the acting Premier. Yes.
And why you know that the first son of any monarch gets the title Prince of Wales?
Yes. Yes, so right.
So there have been several princes of Wales.
Yes. Okay, yes, and of course, with one ascension, there are changes.
Yes.
Okay, yes. But I just wanted to make the point that the Count Sovereign himself visited Montrose since the volcanic crisis. He and his wife, and they were able to get a chance to see the devastation of the the volcanic activity and so on. So we now see. We're hearing the fanfare. This is what greets the arrival of the acting Premier. He's the outrider and the state car is on the field, and they're coming now to be met by the Commissioner and the Commanding Officer of the Royal Montserrat Defence Force.
Who will take her to the dais?
Yes, and
she will take a salute. Who's the ADC to her?
I think Superintendent Huzzy. It's normally a police deals with civilians. Yes. Yes. So they're now on site. Superintendent Huzzy has now stepped out of the vehicle, and they are proceeding now to open for the acting Premier, Mrs. Veronica Dorset Hector. Let me just make a plug here. Oh, dressed lovely in all white.
All white,
yes.
And that blue hat.
Yes. Let me just make a plug here. A few years ago, she would come in that vehicle, but as the ADC to the governor. Remember Governor Deborah Barnes-Jones when she was here?
Yes.
Yes.
She would have been ADC.
And Rebel Hector was at the time a civil servant and was serving as a senior officer. She would have been trained in the cadet corps for many years and understand military discipline, and was the appointed ADC for our first female governor. And Rebel Hector is now taking up her position and will be receiving the greeting salute on behalf of the Honorable Premier. The way how things have changed.
Right. That's how life goes.
Things progress.
And we want things to change.
Yes.
And they would play the first verse of the and chorus of the territorial song.
So see if you could yield to that. All right, so yes, the band is playing the territorial song. We're hoping that the miking would have been able to help. But with the playing of the territorial song, everyone on the compound, everyone will stand in respect of this. And it is to formally greet our acting Premier. The Montserrat flag has been unfurled, and that's the first flag to be flying on any of the 3 flag poles that are here today. I can tell you, if you were outside, you would have heard the resounding greeting from the audience when they saw Honorable Hector stepped out in all white and proceeded to take her post and greet all the Commissioner and the Commanding Officer. She's now going back to her seat, which is located under the tent where the officials are. And the next order of business, we await the arrival of Her Excellency the Governor.
And I see the outrider,
yes.
And yes, she's on her way.
Yes. So it's just about 2 minutes to, and everything is falling in place. So we have the Commissioner and the Commanding Officer coming back to their respective posts. And so, as we say now, the official part of the parade has begun.
Yes.
Because Her Excellency vehicle is on the park.
That is
so
correct.
The fanfare
to attention actually,
and the band will play what we refer to as the greeting fanfare, Again, it's a pity that we'll not be able to stream that music so people can appreciate it. But the greeting fanfare is being played. Her Excellency vehicle is now on the west of the park, led by an outrider, and they are coming around, and all the troops have been brought to attention, all in preparation for what they have been practicing for, the formal part of this parade this morning. I did mention to you, Her Excellency has been quite busy. She hosted the official cocktail last evening, so she probably would have a busy evening, and then here she is promptly at 8 o'clock to carry on her duties as representative of the sovereign and to greet. The appointed ADC for today is Captain Colin Ted Fergus. And he's only doing this, I'd say he's just the interim, because the substantive appointed ADC, Second Lieutenant Carmen Sita Jubri, is on study leave and will be back on island, due to be back on island later this year. So in the interim, Captain Fergus has taken up the charge. In the meantime, Her Excellency's husband has been escorted to a seat for the VIPs under the tent. So formal proceedings have now commenced. We just want to make mention to you that we have on duty officers from the Red Cross. They normally come around just in case there's any eventualities that would require their assistance. But everything is going well so far. Her Excellency is making her way over to the dais, where she will be greeted with the playing of the United Kingdom's national anthem.
6 bars of the national anthem.
Yes.
God save the King.
God save the King. And as the representative of His Majesty the King today, she's entitled to so do. Parade Commander has now instructed the troops to present arms. That's the formal salute, and the royal standard, the Union Jack has now been unfurled.
Yes.
Again, around this point, we would pause for the music, but again, the difficulty of getting it streamed through, we don't normally talk when these things are playing, yes, but that's an unusual one. However, yes, we had the first 6 bars played, and the troops are now being ordered to, to order arms, and the parade commander will now go and present to Her Excellency the Governor. I remember many years ago, when I used to do that. This is one of those things you have to make sure you try and get right.
And you need to remember all the regiments that are on.
So since he's not mic'd, I think what he's saying, he says, "Present good morning to you, Her Excellency the Governor. I have joined up on parade, on this formal parade, to commemorate the King's birthday, a unit of," and you start the Royal Montserrat Defence Force.
1 platoon of.
Of the Royal Montserrat Police Service, the St. Kitts and Nevis Defence Force, contingent of the Sea Cadets, a contingent of the Army Cadets. Also on parade, we have musical accompaniment by the Antigua and Barbuda Police Band. We have auxiliary units from the Fire Service, the prison, right? The Girl Guides. Back in my time, you still had to continue. You had the Pathfinders, you have the Boys Brigade, you have the Boy Scouts, and you go on and on and on and on. Yeah,
and the little rainbows.
Right. Yes. Yes. And those are the times sometimes when you're mic'd, so everybody's hearing you. So if you miss anyone, well, he's not mic'd at this time. So if you miss anyone, you and I wouldn't know. But those were the days. Yes. Okay. So
it looked like you miss it,
No.
Say something. Say you miss it.
Yes.
You miss it.
Okay. So what we have now, the governor is now going to be doing the inspection, and she, out of courtesy, has extended an invitation to the acting premier to join her.
Yes,
which is good. Which is really good. So that will enlarge the expecting party, parade commander and governor in front.
Yeah. And that has been the tradition.
Yes. But it is a courtesy.
It's a courtesy
of the governor, and which they always exercise. So again, being on parade, this is another point where you'll be standing still for quite a little while. Her Excellency the Governor and the inspection party. She is supported or escorted directly by the parade commander, who will take the opportunity to explain to her each troop. And Her Excellency, should she choose to do so, could stop and speak to anyone on parade. greeting them, asking them any questions she may choose to. But of course, in this modern day and age, you try not to ask complicated questions, knowing, being mindful of the time.
And not too many.
And not too many.
Yes.
Yes, but this is when you as a soldier, a cadet, a brownie, a guide, want to make sure you get it right. Right. So Her Excellency she has completed the inspection of the Royal Montserrat Defence Force front rank, the police front rank. She's now coming along the St. Kitts unit, and may choose to speak or slow down there, because these are the ones that she will only see once a year. If she have any questions to ask, then she will now be excited about the Sea Cadets, and she actually made her first stop among the Sea Cadets, and a unit that we're trying to promote. So we can get persons who like the idea of working on the sea, that could support the Marine unit in times to come, or may choose to move to the UK and join the Navy. What we do have a lot of people who transition when they into it, well, the numbers are not big, I should say, is to the military, the army. So we're trying to see if we could develop a liking for naval matters, I would say.
Well, put it this way, we are creating an opportunity.
Yes.
Whether they take it or not, it doesn't matter.
Yes, and similarly with the cadets and others, they may decide to stick with the Defence Force when they come out, and work, on their own, or join the Royal Montserrat Police Service, or the Prison Service, or the Fire and Rescue Service. So this is all great exposure for the young ones. And again, it's very nice that Her Excellency took the time to stop and speak with the younger ones in particular.
And once you come on parade, it tends to stay with you forever. And that is why I'm a little disappointed that we don't have boys brigade and boys scout and so forth here.
Yes. Okay, so Miss Harriet Tucker is our governor. She took up her office.
Cross.
Yes, let's make sure we get it right. So Miss Harriet Cross is our governor. She took up her post in April. Prior to that, our governor was Miss Sarah Tucker. Before her, we had Mr. Andrew Pierce, Elizabeth Carrier, we had Adrian Davis, Peter Waterworth, Deborah Barnes-Jones, our first female, Anthony Logwig, A.J. Abbott, Mr. Frank Savage. I think he was the one who was the governor at the time of the start of the volcanic crisis. Yes. And then we had Mr. David Taylor. Christopher Turner was the one around with Hurricane Hugo. Yes. And we have Governor Watson, Governor Dale, Governor Thompson, and so on. So what we have seen in recent times that, for example, the last two governors have been female. Prior to Governor Deborah Barnes-Jones, it was always male. But now we are having. You
had another female there.
Yes, no, we said, yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
Yes. With Carrier and Deborah Barnes. Yes. So things are changing in that regard, but the role pretty much remains the same, to represent the sovereign here on Montserrat or any other territory to which they are deployed. Her Excellency the Governor and the inspection team currently inspecting the Royal Montserrat, the fire service and the prison service, thanking them and for being here. And again, this is the point where everyone needs to look the part and dress properly, because this is an inspection. One of the things that I've never come across is at the end of this, when they go back, the governor goes back to the dais and the parade commander speaks to the governor. One of the things they say, Your Excellency, I hope you found everything
in order,
everyone in order. And we expect to hear the automatic yes, and as a result of that, the term guard of honor has now start being used, right? Because they have been so approved after the inspection. We don't worry about those logistics, but those of us who are trained in it understand the significance of what you say.
And the changes.
And the changes. Yes.
Language that is used.
That is used. Okay, very nice. Indeed, Her Excellency speaking to the Girl Guides, and right.
They tend to speak a lot to the children most of the time,
which is very good. Is very good.
It's a matter of encouraging them.
Yes. But here we are today at Salem Park, and for the last few years, this is where we have been having this important parade. Prior to this, we would have had parade at Little Bay Park in the early part of the volcanic crisis, and also we would have had parade on the Braids Primary School grounds then on, as I said, Gerald's Park, where the airport is currently located. Prior to that, Sturge Park, that big park in Plymouth that we all, the people like myself, and so were initiated on.
And you know, and you know, when you're marching on an even ground, it's a little more difficult.
Yes. And I remember and the park had some metal platforms. That's when the helicopter, we used to use the helicopter for. Right. So we started to march on it and around it when at the time when we were operating there. Okay? But again, things have evolved, and Sailing Park is definitely the ideal place with the pavilion around that the public and stands around and parking and so on the park itself. It is not ideal for parking on the streets. So a lot of people, we have to park sometimes in Salem Center or over at the police station
or the Catholic
grounds. But for the parade itself and for lovely view, those who are watching it on the YouTube channel will see how beautiful it is, and see we have some drones. We actually have some drones flying over, hopefully giving those who are watching it on YouTube a good aerial view of what is taking.
And you can see the governor is spending some time with the rainbows.
Yes.
He's spending a bit of time with them.
Let me just say, the Government of Information Unit on YouTube. These are the links that people can view the parade on, and ZJB Radio Spirit of Montserrat on Facebook.
Okay. So one of the things that's going to happen today at the parade, closer to the end, will be the awarding of some medals. We're not going to get to that. We'll wait until that time comes. What I will say, however, prior to this, since the ascension of King Charles to the throne, formal permission was given for the award of coronation medals to anyone serving in uniform bodies for 5 years prior to that. And they have started that process here in Montserrat some time ago. A small number of persons were awarded, and I'm happy to say that this has now taken forward. This year, we have had some specific awards of more coronation medals. For example, in the Royal Montserrat Defence Force, we had persons like Lieutenant Kelvin White, Lieutenant Darrow, Sergeant Calvin Lewis, James KB, Darius Lewis, Trevor Pond, Michael Forte, MacGyver Taylor, Kevin Bacchus, Akeem Branch, and Cassian Turner would have received their medals. Okay, and then moving on to well, as I said, the police service members would have received their medals before. So we'd have had persons like Charles Thompson, Superintendent Huzzy, former Deputy Commissioner, Charles Thompson, current Superintendent Huzzy would have received their medal sometime during the process, and quite a number of police officers and fire and rescue officers. We will try and call their names as time permits. But what I'm happy about is the effort has now restarted in trying to give those deserving officers those awards. Nothing beats that when you put on a uniform for occasions like these today, that you wear your medals,
you have your
and show and give an appreciation for your service in these organizations.
And more of that needs to be done in Montserrat, actually.
Yes, you have now started another kind of worms on my part.
Yes.
I truly believe that that we need to expand the national awards. I know the Honorable Cranston Buffon had started a process. I know it was discussed in Parliament to expand the current structure of the Montserrat National Awards, which gives certain awards, but to expand it to include persons and national service in other forms, like nurses, those who would have done excellent work during the COVID crisis, for example, or at the start of the volcanic crisis. A few weeks ago, we had some floods, and there are persons who were called out and gave 2, 3, 4 days free service to the state in helping clearing the roads and other things along that line. So these are persons who we strongly believe at some point should be recognized, and we don't have the big money to give them $5,000, $10,000, and $20,000, but at least
they shows appreciation for the work that they have done.
Indeed.
And in other countries, that's what happens, actually.
Yes. So it's one of those things that I hope will catch on at some point. And Last year, I spoke about it. As a matter of fact, I even suggested or raised the idea, I think, to speak to the fact that Her Excellency is now inspecting the band and speaking to the band commander, expressing her appreciation for them to take the time to come to play music for us here on Montserrat. Of course, while this is done, the band will stop playing so they could all hear what she's saying. But this cannot be overemphasized, expressing our gratitude and thanks to the band who come here year after year to provide music for us in this and other events.
You have to compliment the Antigua government and the police force for
demonstration.
Yes, solidarity, really. And you have to appreciate that.
Yes, demonstration of the close working relationship of between Montserrat and Antigua, and long may it continue. All right. So I was just saying that last year James got the better of me when I was saying not only the issue of awards, but we need to come up with something Montserrat. Like we have a Montserrat Day, a national day specific where we recognize Montserratians on those days. I remember saying to him back then,
separate from heroes.
Yes. We need to refine the National Heroes Day.
If that's
incorporate,
yes.
Okay, indeed.
But but you have to start now, because your work on medals and so have to go through the royal heraldry and so forth. So you have to start early in order to get those medals approved and so forth.
To start with, we need the policy approval. And last year I said, look, Anguilla has Anguilla Day. It's the 30th of May. Bermuda has Bermuda Day. It's the last Monday in May, right? And the BVI has Territories Day, the 1st of July. The Cayman Islands has National Heroes Day, 22nd of January. And they have Discovery Day, the 20th of May. And they have their Emancipation Day, of course, in August. So what I'm advocating here, as a matter of fact, Turks and Caicos had a big event just in May, National Heroes Day, where they remember the first premier and all other national matters, right? So they call it the National Heroes Day, and it's a public holiday for that, and they focus on national heroes. Right.
And people who have done considerable work.
Okay, so here we are. Her Excellency is now back in what we refer to as the saluting dais. The parade commander has now spoken to her and would have received her permission to continue the parade with a march past in both slow and quick time. He's probably getting back to his position where he will now give the orders for the troops to get themselves together in order. And what we normally do, in light of the structure of the parade, they would normally ask the band to do their thing first, so that they will get back in position and then be able to play the music for the troops. So he has now given instruction to the band major to get the band in their rightful place, and the band is now preparing to do that.
And the band will do it in slow and quick time.
Yes, they will do their presentation by getting. I think what we refer to is as trooping of the band. And I think in the interest of time today, they will be probably doing their trooping in slow march and then break into quick time. Yes. So they will not be doing the two like the others would be. However, again, we cannot say it often enough how thankful we are that they take the time to come to Montserrat to participate in this event. Bearing in mind, we have been going for a while and the troops on parade are all at standstill. We have not seen anyone, should I say, with expressing any discomfort as yet. So that is good.
Don't say as yet.
Yes. Please. But the key thing is that once they get moving, once they get to the point where they'll be marching, don't expect for anything to happen after that. It's the issue of getting the circulation.
What has happened is that we had the cloud cover for the morning, so it was cool. It's only now we're seeing the sunshine just peeping through.
And they're broken into.
Okay, right. So those who are watching will now have a better appreciation of what is taking place. The band is now getting in position. They march across to the south of the parade square in file, and now they have done what we refer to as a form they will be doing, and coming down in that format, marching in slow time, and give a formal salute to Her Excellency, the Governor. If you will recall, there are two flags flying as we speak. We have the Montserrat flag and the Union Jack. There's still the royal standard to be unfurled, and we will explain when we get to that point what takes place. But the band are the ones on show at this time. Again, it would be nice if we could have find some way to bring you some of this music live, so that we could pause a while so you get a good appreciation of the music that's being played. One of the things I'm also impressed with the band, where necessary, they play a lot of Montserrat music. And again, that is something.
I've learned that they've been practicing.
Okay, let's see if we could yield to the music here.
And we have our first culture too.
Yes. I wouldn't put it down like that, because I know in my time you go off, you get a glass of water, you wipe your face and the back on. Yes. Yes. But these are the things that I just said that would happen sometimes. Yeah?
And we have to appreciate it's not easy to stand.
All right, so the band would have now passed Her Excellency, giving her eyes right, and the leader would have given an appropriate salute. They have now, and to do that, they did it at what we refer to as the open order. They have since passed and now revert back to what we call the closed order, and they are now turned back in into form, and they're marching around. After which you will see that they will break into quicker pace to get back to their positions. So all the other troops on parade are longing for this to take place, so that they now can do their part. All right, so hopefully we could appreciate some of the music, and they may break into something monstrous. Let's see what it is.
What's that?
And there we have it. Yes, the band just passed it close to us, and we do believe you were able to pick up a bit of the music there. That's why we paused for that. So they're now going to go back to their position, where they will now play for everyone else to do what they just did and more. Right? Again, as a young soldier, many years ago, this is part we look forward to, the march past and what's coming after that. We'll speak to it when we get to that. But the parade commander will now take up his position and get the troops back in their rightful format and prepare for the march past. Again, for parade like this, for the most part, you will only hear instructions from the parade commander. There's a certain part again when during the march past itself, when the unit commanders will give instructions. Right. However, the sergeants, they look forward to the part. Yes. Then they are going to.
Guard order. Close order. March. Guard order. Will retire. Airport. Turn. Guard of honor will form close columns of platoons. Change direction right at the halts. Right! Form! Forward!
All right, so we have the troops now changing their formation for the purposes of the march past, and they're clearly following the instructions of the parade commander there.
Guard of honor, advance, airport, turn. Guard of honor will dress in close columns of platoons. Right! Dress!
Okay, so there the instruction is given for them to dress and get themselves straight, as to say, in order, in preparation for this formal activity of marching past Her Excellency the Governor. This is the only time I'm saying to you that the sergeants will try their best to outdo the parade commander speaking loud and giving the and show your worth, that you're entitled to promotion when it comes that you can do certain things. Oh, I remember those days many years ago. Yes, yes.
Well, mine would be moons ago. Yours would be years ago.
Yes, indeed. Yes, and the troops they're looking immaculate. From by our standards here, we do appreciate that we're a small community, so we don't have thousands of people to march like would have taken place earlier today in London. But we are doing justice to the cause, and we are demonstrating that we are that we are committed, and the young ones on parade, in particular the cadets. I really appreciate the efforts that's been put in to develop the cadets, keep it going, because it's what we call a revolving organization. When people leave school, they move on to other things. So it's to keep the interest of those who are there.
And a bit of discipline. They learn
Yes.
a bit of discipline at that time. Yes.
Shoulder! Arms! Parade will march fast in slow and quick time at 15 paces intervals. By the left, slow march.
And there they go. The troops are off, and they are doing this slow march, and they're going southwards on the park, as we'll say. If you're just listening by radio, they're going southwards, and then on the south they will turn and go east, and then when they reach the rightful spot, they will now come back to the north, where they will pass Her Excellency the Governor. And the band is playing the appropriate slow march tune. Again, it's a pity that where they are, we're not able to pick it up clear enough that you could appreciate the music itself. But the parade commander and everyone immaculately, should I say, marching in line, going to the south. And at the south now we see that the lead unit, the Royal Montserrat Defence Force unit, has done its form and now facing east, and then we'll quickly move off to the east, and the police unit will do the same thing.
I hope in time that we will have equal platoons. Right
Yes.
now, we don't have a full platoon marching in some cases.
Right, and then one of the issues again, is the reassignment of some people having to do a number of things. But be that as it may, we're here and duly represented. So the Defence Force unit has now done their form again, and they're now facing the north, and they will be marching past Her Excellency the Governor. And so she at some point will go back up under the saluting dais, and standing to her right we will have the commanding officer of the Royal Montserrat Defence Force, and to her left the Commissioner of Police, and that's the formal position for them to receive what we refer to the formal salute. Yeah, the formal salute. Okay. So here we are. Here we have them coming down to the north, parade commander in front, and the police also following them, coming up behind the police, getting ready to turn to the north. We have the unit from the St. Kitts and Defence Force. Yes, we are working hard to try and see if we can improve some way where we could appreciate and get some of the music from the band. It's very useful. So the Royal Montserrat Defence Force has now given the formal eyes right, or formal salute to Her Excellency the Governor, and she has recognized them by simply giving them a nod. About that's the way it's done, and to accept the greeting that they would have extended to her. Right, coming up, we have the unit from the Royal Montserrat Police Service, and they're now doing their eyes right. And if you're watching on television, you'll have all sort of angles to choose from. We have drones, we have cameras fixed, so you see the parade from above, you see it from to the front, and from the left and to the right, which is good. But for those who are listening on radio, you're relying only on what I'm saying here, and hopefully, here we have some improvement in the music coming from the band, or hearing some of the music coming from the band. And the police has just passed, Her Excellency the Governor, yes. So we have the unit from St. Kitts now coming up, visitors doing their part, slow march, and doing their eyes right. Again, we really appreciate the fact that the city need, they accept the invitation to come on a yearly basis to do this. St. Kitts and Nevis do not celebrate the King's birthday like we do. Even though the King is their sovereign, the head of state, their focus is on their independence, the parade, rightfully so. So, we inviting them coming here. That's really, there's no conflict in terms of them having to parade at home or having, things to do like that. So, they gladly come. So we have the Sea Cadets just passing the saluting dais and giving Her Excellency her due in the form of salute and eyes right. So we have the Army Cadets, the men coming up, and they too are doing their eyes right. Here we come to another interesting part of the parade. So all the troops of armed guard, as we call it, or the Guard of Honor, would have done their march past in slow time. Now they're getting ready to get into a position where they will all break into quick time and do it again. And on this occasion, all the auxiliary units on parade will join in. And again, this is some of the things the young kids look forward to. I remember many years ago when I was parade commander, there was, we had some little issue with some rain. So the younger ones, who don't normally wear a headdress, were given permission to come off. It was still drizzling a little bit, and we were preparing for the march past. And I know no instruction was given, but they all get into their rightful places and they did their marching, which was really, really impressive. The crowd was so enthused about it, encouraging them along. And this is what we want. Any opportunity that presents itself to encourage our youths, to participate in what they're doing willingly.
To be honest with you, it's also a good time for them to get the blood flowing, because they've been standing there for a little while.
Yes,
so it helps.
Yes. No, again, one of the other issues that we want to talk about too is the fact that, no matter how after rehearsal we would say to the younger ones, please make sure you eat and have a good cup of tea before you come here. But they're so interested and so enthused about the whole thing.
They're excited.
Oh, excited.
They want to be.
Oh yes. They sometimes say they forgot that. They forget to do that, and then come along here. But there we go. Because right after this, the state makes sure that they at least get some form of refreshment. Yes. For the work that they're doing, they would have done. Okay. Yeah. So I would have mentioned that the St. Kitts have a unit here, and that unit is led by Second Lieutenant Jelani Griffith, supported by Sergeant Jace Henderson. Griffith, yes, and then Griffin. Yeah, Griffin. Correct, yes. And then we have a Corporal Dorville Eddy, and Lance Corporal Kyle Pemberton, Lance Corporal Williams, Lance Corporal Query, Private Davis. We have a Private Richards, Private Burke, Private Williams again, yes, Private Gums, Private Davis again, and Private Matthew, and a Private Mentos. And that's the contingent that came up from St. Kitts. I think they were able to get a ride up on the St. Kitts Nevis Coast Guard that brought them up on Wednesday. The troops have now broken into, as we call it, quick march. So they will now carry out the march past again, this time in quick time. And everyone on parade, all the young ones are marching. This is the time they get a chance to move their legs and get the blood flowing. on parade today, again, we would have outlined the troops, but we know that since we have been doing this, we have had representatives on parade, as I said, from the Antigua Defense Force before. We have had representatives from the Royal Navy. Even the auxiliary fleet, when they are around Montserrat, they will choose to come to Montserrat to participate in our parade. We have had the Antigua Defense Force band playing for us here one time. So here we have the Defense Force giving the eyes right in quick time, repeating what we just did in slow time. And again, looking real nice as Her Excellency acknowledged their salute with a nod. Then we have the Royal Montserrat Police Service coming up. And we're saying, what we have here and what in the past we have had many visiting troops coming to, be part of it, especially the Navy when they're in the proximity. So if they're on duty, they will work it out that they are in Montserrat for at least 2 days before and on the day of the parade, and they will send. And of course, in order of precedence, they will take, His Majesty's troops will take precedence of the local forces on paper, but on parade, they make it clear they want to march after the Defense Force and after the police, so they could emulate what we do. Yes,
well, most times they would not have been at the rehearsals and so forth, so it's difficult for them to lead.
Yes.
The other thing to it, they tend to march on even ground.
Yes.
Here it's uneven.
Not even paved
ground. Yes.
Yeah. So marching on the grass as we do here, we have perfected that art because we have done it all the time.
Yeah, that is correct.
Again, and then as it relates to the auxiliary troops, we do not have any Boy Scouts, as you would have said before, this year. Again, we don't have the Boys and Girls Brigade this year. The Pathfinders used to be a big show for us, with us, when the parades were held on the public holiday Monday. Now it's reverted back to the Saturday itself. They are a church and maybe conflict with their Sabbath celebrations, so they're not on parade. But they too would normally come with a sizable grouping, both male and female.
And we have used their band.
Oh yes, the drummers in particular. For many other activities. Okay. So for example, on the Remembrance Day parade itself, they which is on a Sunday, they would participate, and we will highlight that on that occasion. So here we go, the troops are marching past. Here we have the Girl Guides doing their eyes right to Her Excellency the Governor, and she's smiling, Her Excellency, and greeting them, appreciating the young ladies that are coming up there. So we have the Girl Guides, then we have a good contingent of the Brownies coming up. And my understanding, with all the combination we have there, we have the St. Augustine 4th Montserrat Brownies, we have the Lookout Brownies, we have the Rainbows, we have the Secondary School Guides, and we have the St. Peter's Guides. Right? We know that their work has been coordinated through, I think the commissioner as we speak is Mrs. Katrina Darwin. And they're supported by persons like Miss Geraldine Mason, Miss Marcia Jeffers, Miss Nakita Braid, Dr. Tiffany Skerritt, and a number of other persons, keeping the young ladies, occupied in meaningful activities. Marching is only a small part of what they do. They do a lot of other things. They do a lot of community projects as part of their training. Normally, when they have their Thinking Day celebration, they have a week of activities around that time. I was not able to get the list of activities that they carried out. I know for sure they had a church parade or church.
Yes, they normally start with that.
Yes, with that. And again, these are the. Yes, so these are some of the activities, but again, the young ladies are well represented here today. So they're. Right. So the troops are now back in place and are waiting for the command. Yeah, waiting on the command of the parade commander. So everyone has just come back from the march past and they're all facing south. And we will yield to the parade commander now. And we have the crowd giving them the appreciation for what.
Parade! Advance! Left! 10! Guard of honor! Order! Arms! Parade! In open order! Right! Dress!
All right, so the parade has been dressed, as I said, to make sure they are all in line. As we now move to another part, another important part of this aspect, which is giving direct salute to His Majesty the King. I will explain that when we get to that. But the parade sergeant major is over there checking everyone, making sure that they're all in their rightful places, and you will see some adjustments being made. That this is the time you're allowed to do that, and to make sure that they are in order. Well, one of the things I worry about, especially marching on the ground like this, the opening, is be careful that we do not disturb the sleeping ants, as we call it.
Yes.
Because nothing can be more problematic than marching through an ant's nest.
Yeah.
And it spoil the rest of your day. So we have to be careful, even with the troops standing, and make any adjustments that we think is necessary. So
The next time we need to tell them to spray.
yes. So the parade
But
commander.
it was done,
Yes. The
It was,
parade.
it was done, yeah.
Yes. The parade commander would.
Guard of honor! Shoulder! Arms!
Okay. So what we're having here is that the delegate, Her Excellency and her delegation is now coming to stand in front of the royal standard. Once this process
Right.
begins, everybody on compound.
Royal salute! Present! Arms!
The royal standard is now being unfurled, and in so doing, the other two flags will be lowered. So we'll have the Union Jack being lowered and the Montserrat flag. And the prominent flag flying is the personal flag to His Majesty the King, what we refer to as the royal standard. And to greet that, the full or the entire national anthem, UK national anthem, is being played, and everyone on the ground stands for that purpose. And through this process, where the formal salute will continue with a few de joie and a few other things,
Parade!
everyone remains standing.
Shoulder! Arms!
So if you're looking at the flag poles, you
Guard of
see
honor!
the only flag that's flying is the
Order!
royal standard.
Arms!
The parade commander is now getting the troops together so that they could get in a position to
Guard
deal
of honor.
with the aspect of the feu de joie,
Will
to make the
unfix.
weapons safe,
Bayonet.
to do that.
Conflict.
Peter, it's important that you say it is assumed that the king is in the yes at the moment.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, that is the
Bayonet.
best way to explain it. Because even Her Excellency is facing that flag.
That flag,
yes,
yes.
and everybody, yeah.
So it is assumed
Guard
that the
of
king is
honor.
present with us.
Chen! Guard of honor! Will fire a few de joie. Officers, take post! Standing! Load!
So the troops are now preparing their weapons for the purposes of firing what we call the volley or
Feu de joie.
feu de joie. They will do a 3 bursts of that in respect of
And future is fire of joy.
Present!
That's it.
Commence!
Then we have the first 6 bars of the national anthem being played.
Reload!
Then we have the second volley being prepared for.
Present! Commence! Reload.
During this process, the flags that were taken down are all being prepared, and so they need to go back up on the pole so that after this formal process they can resume being unfurled. Yeah. Or have them unfurled, yes.
Commence!
Here we have the anthem being played, the full anthem this time. The first two volleys, first half, then second half. Now the full thing is being played at this point. Again, we do express right.
Unload!
All right, so this is another process that's been going through, especially with those bearing arms, to make sure that they're safe. So they have to unload them, making sure that there's nothing there that can be discharged for the rest of the parade, and for their own safety.
And most important, put on that safety.
Yes. Yes.
Order! Arms!
And one of the things we have to appreciate, the parade commander giving all these instructions is back to the troops, so you can make sure you remember the order of events, so you could give clear instructions. Again,
Guard of honor, will fix, bayonets, fix.
Again, I remember many years ago, in my younger days, I would have missed one or two. But what the troops have been trained to do, irrespective of me making an error in my orders, they know what should come and correct accordingly. Of course, especially as it relates to matters to do with safety.
Yes. Well, if you go back to Major Bramble,
John!
I'll say that after.
Yeah.
Guard of honor, ground, arms.
And they're preparing now for the 3 cheers, and this is a process where they divest themselves of their weapons, so they have
Guard of honor!
their hands available for the purposes of
John!
the cheers to His Majesty the King.
Parade will remove headdress. Remove headdress. Parade done. 3 cheers for His Majesty the King. Hip hip hip. Hip hip hip. Hip hip hip. Parade will replace headdress. Replace.
And here we are, again, the formal part of this aspect,
Headdress.
while the royal standard is unfurled. So we would have seen a number of things. We have seen the national, we have heard the national anthem played, and
Parade!
had the feu de joie, the 3 volleys of the feu de joie. Then we would have had the troops, everybody on parade, giving cheers to His Majesty the King. So now, with that part being done, the troops will recover their arms, and then they will give the final greeting while the royal standard reload. Yes.
Son! Guard of honor! Shoulder! Arms! Parade will advance in review order.
This is another precision point.
The center!
Let's hope they get it
Quick!
right.
March! Parade!
Yes. And then
Royal
in line.
salutes! Present! Arms!
And the full national anthem is being played while the royal
Standard is being lowered.
Yeah. we'll see that the entire parade is very forward or advanced.
Shout
from where they started off this.
Arms!
Yes.
And you will notice that after the royal standard
God,
is
one up.
lowered, and the Union Jack and the Montserrat flag is unfurled.
Is unfurled. Yes.
Parade! Standard! East!
All right. So the parade is now
Stand! Easy!
brought at standard ease, and we now move to the part, the last formal, should I say, where
awards.
the
Presentation.
award, yes, and I think the list would have been given out, but we will wait for the person who is reading the citations to call the names and the citations.
That's
and then
Adina Johnson.
Johnson, yes.
I was saying,
Aldrich Carlisle Williams
yes, that.
joined
Yeah.
the Royal Montserrat Defence Force
Yeah.
on 13 February 2001. He was appointed Sergeant Major in 2006. After completing 12 years of efficient service, he was awarded the Efficiency Medal in 2013 and the First Clasp in 2019. He became the first soldier in the RMDF to be promoted to WO1 in 2022. Having completed a further 6 years of service on 15 February 2025 for a total of 24 years, he is now awarded the second clasp to the Efficiency Medal. Warrant Officer Class 1, Barry Williams.
Yes, so see, we have the parade sergeant major himself going forward to receive his second class. So just make sure we understand that, or we explain that. So you get the efficiency, in this case, for them, their medal, efficiency medal at 12 years of service. Then you get the first class after a further
6 years.
6 years, yes. And then a further 6 years, you get the second class. Okay, so that's what he's celebrating here for 24 years of service so far in the Royal Montserrat Defence Force. Okay, and you're remembering that service in the Royal Montserrat Defence Force is voluntary. So if we could recognize as often as possible those who provide volunteer service to this country, let us do so. If it's in the form of a medal or whatever it is, we must always remind ourselves of the importance of that and the need to continue to do so.
Private Alison A. Richards joined the Royal Montserrat Defence Force on 26 June 2007. She deployed with the RMDF Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief Team to Dominica after Tropical Storm Erica in 2015. In 2023, Richards represented Montserrat in Operation Golden Orb for His Majesty's coronation. She received the Efficiency Medal upon completing 12 years of efficient service in 2019 and upon reaching 18 years of service on 27 June 2025. She is awarded the first clasp to the Efficiency Medal. Private Alison A. Richards. Sergeant Melvin Irwinson Lindsay joined the Royal Montserrat Defence Force on September 8, 2012. He completed the Skills at Arm course with the British Army Training Support Unit in Belize in April 2019 and the Platoon Sergeant's Battle Course Reserve at the Infantry Battle School in August in 2019. Having completed 12 years of clarifying efficient service on 8 September 2024, Sergeant Lindsay is awarded the Efficiency Medal. Sergeant Melvin Lindsay.
right? And as I said, proud moment, you know, after your service, you were able to go up and literally get your award from Her Excellency, the Governor.
Colonial Police Long Service Medal. Firefighter Ralston Braid has devoted 25 years to the Montserrat Fire Department, consistently demonstrating courage and reliability. During his tenure, he has led responses to both major routine emergencies, provided guidance as a departmental trainer for breathing apparatus and rescue procedures, and helped refine standard operating protocols. He has also represented the department in community fire safety outreach, raising awareness across schools and public venues. In honor of his 25 years of service, Firefighter Braid is awarded the first class to the Colonial Police Long Service Medal. Firefighter Ralston Braid.
Okay, Firefighter Braid.
Deputy Superintendent of Prisons, Kenyel Moraine. Okay. He joined the Royal Montserrat Police Force on 15 February 2006 and completed his initial recruit training at the Regional Police Training Center in Barbados, where he was honored as the most outstanding overseas student. He has served in beat and patrol, traffic and criminal investigation departments, was promoted to acting sergeant in early 2013, and confirmed as sergeant on 1st April 2013, and has held the role of acting inspector on several occasions. In 2014, he achieved the highest overall score in the operation module of the Junior Command Training Program in Jamaica. In recognition of over 18 years of integrity, commitment, and professionalism, he is awarded the Colonial Police Long Service Medal. Deputy Superintendent Kenyel Moraine. Immigration Officer Tricia Allen began her career with the Royal Montserrat Police Service on 10 February 2006, serving in beat and patrol, the Criminal Investigations Department, and as an intelligence officer, and acting as sergeant at Salem Police Station before transferring to the Immigration Department in 2016. In honor of 18 years of outstanding and dedicated service to the government and people of Montserrat, she is awarded the Colonial Police Long Service Medal. Immigration Officer Tricia Allen.
Say is, yes, we're moving smoothly with the awards. Everybody would have worked for this moment, and they're glad to come out and to know that they're presented with the awards in the view of the public. Right after this, we'll actually have the closing salute.
Prison Service Medal. Prison Officer Carlton C. Smith began his service with His Majesty's Prison Service as a temporary officer on 12 March 2007 and was appointed permanently on 30th June 2008. Over more than 18 years, he has exemplified professionalism, discipline, and integrity in various acting positions, enhancing both staff development and prisoner management. In recognition of his unwavering commitment and distinguished service, he is awarded the Colonial Prison Service Medal. Prison Officer Carlton Smith.
Yeah. Smith, right? I think he also serves in the defense force, volunteers, I should say. But his full-time job is with the prison service, and I know that the prison service itself is currently looking for more staff. They have been advertising repeatedly to try and get persons to come and join the service. So we see that if you join the service, the prison service, you can be recognized for your service there as well, in getting medals and awards for your service there. I hope that this will serve as some form of encouragement for that department as they try and beef up their human resource complement. It is, again, in recent times we see quite a few adverts going out for trying to attract people in various parts of the service. And I know the Royal Montserrat Police Service, for example, has an ongoing training program going as we speak. I think they have about 4 persons or 5.
Functional Head Randolph Reynald Diet commenced duties as a temporary prison officer on 18 October 2004 and was confirmed permanently on 1st January 2010. He was promoted to functional head on an acting basis on 1st October 2020 and confirmed on 1st November 2022, holding responsibility for rehabilitation and reoffending. Having completed over 20 years of unbroken qualifying service, he is awarded the Colonial Prison Service Medal. Functional Head Randolph Diet.
Right, Mr. Diet, now been recognized also for his service. I think he's the one leading the actual unit from the prison service today. And again, I hope this resonates with anyone who thinking about joining the prison service, that it's something that you could seriously give consideration to, because your service, once you do it properly, is recognized by the state. And again, I just can't get over the fact that the repeated adverts you see going out for prison officers, for fire and rescue officers. I know the police had some difficulty in getting. They were able to get about 4 or 5 persons, so they do have a training program going on as we speak.
Do you think it's a function of the population size?
It could be. Or one of the things I'm saying, however, is that persons, find young people saying that, when they're leaving school, they want to, become everybody wants to be a computer scientist or lawyer or doctor or something along that line. So maybe also we need to do more promotion about the benefits that can be derived that can come out of joining these service. We on our own accord or through the public service, we need to promote that work to let them know that there's nothing wrong. You will be well looked after, you'll be recognized by the state once you carry out good service. So the parade is now being brought to attention. We're now getting into the final moments of the activity here on Salem Park. Her Excellency the Governor,
shoulder arms,
is now going back on the saluting dais and
general salutes. Present arms.
All right, so see, there we have the band now playing the 6 bars of the national anthem, and this is to recognize her, Her Excellency on the dais as she now takes a final salute before she departs.
Shoulder arms.
So this
is order arms.
This is pretty much brought about the hour or so of formal activity with Her Excellency the Governor here on Salem Park. And as usual, she will go to the parade commander, thanking him for the parade, and I think and extending probably an invitation to the parade commander and the troops to come for maybe refreshment, where they'll do the loyal toast, and the senior personnel also will meet at what they normally call the officers' gathering, where other discussions will take place. But yes, Her Excellency has finished, and she's now going to say hello to those officials under the tent, in the person of the acting premier, other ministers of government. It's normally, dignitaries.
Yes.
Right. So the parade will stand at ease for that. We always encourage that is done, but not too long, because bearing in mind we still have the troops there going through this. And while when the governor leaves, then we go through that again for the departure of the acting premier, and then the troops themselves will start marching, which is hopefully to get their legs moving. All right. Yes. So the vehicle is now coming up to collect the governor. It's been a long morning, I can tell you that. It's been a long morning,
and for some people it's too long.
Yes, and one of the things, of course, we have the citations that were a little bit lengthy, but again, that's when people get to know about your service. Try and get them printed and put in some place, so that maybe we could shorten that version of it on the parade square itself. So that it falls below, or the parade will stick to about 45 minutes.
You come on a parade square, there's a certain amount of level of fitness that you must.
Yes. But you can't measure the sun, you can't predict the rain, that will or the wind or anything along that line. But we're getting there. Her Excellency the Governor has now boarded her vehicle. Her ADC, Captain Colin Fergus, has entered, and they're now driving off. Coming up will be the vehicle for the acting premier. I can tell you, again, another excellent performance here at Salem Park. The troops did very well. And in particular, I must commend our visitors who came in, as I just said, just about 2 days ago. And they came to the rehearsal on Thursday. Yesterday, they were busy dealing with a number of things, some community activities, as well as those who attended the governor's activity last evening. And then to be here this morning for this. We always try to have this parade at 8 o'clock because in terms of the coolness of the day, and hopefully, but in June, your sun rises about, about 5:30 in the morning.
Yes.
So at 8 o'clock, it is up. All right. So here we have the acting premier going on the dais to get her farewell salute.
Oh, salutes! Present! Arms!
So we have the first part of the territorial song being played. It's part of the departure of the acting premier, dressed in white. But then again, she's accustomed to wearing uniform.
But that is correct.
So well.
Right!
And she carries herself well.
Shout
This
out!
morning when I heard the crowd, cheer.
God,
she
run up!
stepped out.
Order! Arms!
All right. So the premier has now, and she's going to say a quick word to the parade commander as well, the usual format, to thank him for carrying out this major activity of state this morning, and I'm sure they will have further discussions as time goes on. So we're getting there. It's and luckily we're having a little breeze as well, so
Yes.
that certainly helps keep things cool. So the parade will move from here, as we are told, when they finish, and go up through the Salem Center. And normally, or prior to this, they would normally assemble at the the Salem Primary School, but that facility is under construction. And while it looks a bit complete, I don't think it has been formally handed over as yet. So we're not allowed to use it at this time. The other option would have been to go to the Salem Police Station, but that too
is under construction.
So while they were able to assemble there this morning to march here, it will not be appropriate for them to go there for the dismissal and refreshment and use of washrooms and so on. So I think this time the troops will be to the Salem, the Monster Secondary School, where they will hopefully get some refreshments and something to drink and reminisce over the splendid activity that they all participated in here this morning. My good brother, John Richard Sherbiton Skerry, CBE, decorated former civil servant. I now go before you and say, here we are again. And I don't want to sound as if I'm repeating myself, but I am very passionate about rewarding, awarding, recognizing our people. And it's not everyone who come on a parade like this and march. It is not everyone that put on uniform. There are people who serve the country well in other areas.
Yes.
I crave your indulgence, my good friend. Tell me, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we discussed this before, and all I would say...
And we will keep discussing it.
Every time we come here, we'll talk about it. There are so many people who have done so much for this country, but are not recognized.
Yes.
And I think there ought to be a way. Yes, we have the national honors, but we can expand that to ensure that a number of other persons and other professions and volunteers do get their due.
Yes.
But it needs to start now, because as I was saying, medals and so forth need to go through the royal heraldry. And therefore, if you start now, then maybe in a year or so, you might be able to start doing things like that. And we can discuss the categories and things like that, have it in place, because it's done elsewhere. And we don't have to start from scratch.
That's right. I remember as a young man, many years ago, when I used to started going to the secondary school. My grandmother said to me one day, something along this line, you notice that when you go to town and go to school, that town is always clean. I'm just trying to make a point.
Yes.
And I stop and think. I say, really? Yeah, that's a good point. It's a busy place, but when you go there every morning, it's clean. It means that somebody
is doing that job.
So he said to me, and you ever stop to think who been doing that? I said, no. He said, listen to me good. Tomorrow morning, make sure you wake up about 4 o'clock and listen. You will hear footsteps going through the village. The gentleman from Harris, we used to call him Bill. He had some full military boots with steel heel. And he would walk from Harris's Hill to wherever till he gets a ride to get to Plymouth in time for 5 o'clock, so that the garbage truck could go around Plymouth to pick up garbage. Because normally about 10:30, 11 o'clock, you see back in the village. And I just never put the two together. That was his job. Serving the country to keep Plymouth as we know it clean. The point I'm trying to make, here am I going through Plymouth and never have an appreciation of the fact that the place is clean.
Yeah.
And who does it? So I use that as a remote example, that there are people doing things, serving our country in many ways, but we just never stop to give appreciation to that. And I don't want to go down the list, whether it be nurses, whether it be prison officers, or whether it be radio announcers, whether it those who keep us informed with the news, whatever it may be.
But the last time, the last honors,
yes,
when I saw Fred Blake,
the fisherman,
yes. It shows that there's some thought.
Yes,
it's how it can be expanded.
And without getting into too much detail, yes, I'm glad that was his was one of a number of others that were put forward.
Yes.
So we're hoping that in coming ceremonies that others will be recognized. That process has started, and we want to build on it. But let's not take it too long. We don't want to know somebody has to come to our country to tell us to do that. We should be able to come up with that ourselves.
That is correct.
I think it is a lot of things. We wait for someone to come, a consultant to come and tell us to do it.
And to be honest with you, it is done elsewhere in other countries. It is being done, and
thank you.
You just need to.
And I would have made reference to the other overseas territories in particular,
yes.
And the special days that they have, where they remember events like these, and again, again, sometimes it's as I said, just to get it started, get the idea being accepted at the policy level, and then get it implemented. And as next year, if God's willing and we're here again, we will speak about it and any other opportunity, and hopefully it will get.
We'll speak about it and speak about it and speak about it again and again and again.
I get some momentum going. All right. So the Commissioner of Police and the commanding officer would have expressed their gratitude to the parade commander, as those who are seeing it on TV. And now the troops, everyone is now getting ready to march off.
Move to the right in column of routes. Right! 10!
Right, yes. So the troops are now getting ready to march off, which is, it's about 17 minutes after 9, and there are those who would have been here from about, 17 minutes to 8, if you want to call it that. I'm trying to make a point here. So over an hour and a half, they would have been here conducting their duties, for which we really appreciate. All right? We really appreciate.
And we have to appreciate all those who prepare the park, actually.
Front! Quick! March!
Yeah, the grounds are immaculate, so we
Yes,
have to also,
and I remember it was yesterday morning, because you don't want to do it too early. Which is another point that we should have mentioned before, is that every year at June we express our concern about the dryness of the park and the dust that's flying around. This year the park is green.
Yes,
because we've been having rain, over the last few weeks, to the point that we had too much rain at one time. We had a flood.
That is correct.
Yes, it is really unique, and that the park is so green.
It certainly has helped.
And most certainly it helped. So one thing we didn't need to worry about today is the matter of dust. Let's pause here and recognize those who we know are listening. We want to say a little teaser to people like former Quartermaster Sergeant Semper. He sent a message to say he's listening. We know people like Royal Hickson in the UK are listening, and some of them are sending in their comments. But let me just...
Former Sergeant Major Martin, Corporal Dyer, Ashley Gray, Corporal Ashley Gray, yes, quite a few.
Now, I want to come back to the matter of music. We have the Antigua and Barbuda Police Service Band. I know just prior to COVID, an effort was made to come up with a local marching band. We got some instruments. I think Colin Owen was the FS at the time when he was able to get under the SCAF program some basic instruments, and we started that process. But we have to also remember that for many years we did this ourselves under the directorship of
Major Brown
and Vernon Buffon.
Yes.
And we had persons that we still have around. Hope we can entice them to come back. People like Mac Lloyd White and so to come back, and Jubri, who used to play drums. If you can get them back in this community marching band, forum, that we could get music to play on these events. Not only parades, but formal funerals and other occasions when we do the sports, when we do have the march past and so on, and there's a need for music. I am hoping that this is an idea that can also be developed.
But we have to get it done in the school.
Yes,
we get it done in school.
That appreciation.
That appreciation.
Yes.
It's and sometimes that is a function of a small population and resources available and so forth. But we still have to try, and I don't know what the solution is going to be, because we bought the instruments.
Yes,
they're available.
Yes,
but what we can't get is the people.
Yes, get people who show their interest and stick with it.
Stick with it. Yes.
I know Cupid has a program, but his program is steel pan and that type of thing. Again, maybe we could expand on that. We could
just build on it.
Yes, anything, and then you have a group who could specialize in the marching aspect of it. So all these are things that ought to be taken into consideration, and we hope these are ideas that can be built on at some point, and we get our own marching band. Let me make it clear. We certainly appreciate the effort of our colleagues next door to come when we ask. Right? Sometimes if they don't hear from us, they call ahead.
Yes,
to ask how things you need us, and the fact that they were able to come without us even having a ferry that's operating at this time, we were able to use the police boat and the St. Kitts use their Coast Guard, you know, at our request to bring their troops. So again, this is another area that we should not take for granted. The teamwork, the camaraderie and support that we get from our neighbors.
It's all about building relationships, and how do we build it and how do we sustain it, and what support we bring into it, what enticement, as you say, we can.
Well, we had this momentum up to, you know, about 4 years ago, but within the last 3 years, you know, things you know, were looked at differently, and we hope that we could go back to build up, you know, the regional cooperation, teamwork among Montserrat, Antigua, St. Kitts, and that we too can attend their parades when they invite us, what if it may be all events.
That would be lovely.
That would be lovely. And so these are the sort of things we need to go back to, look and see how we could expand on them and what, you know, benefits can come of the nations. Because even somebody was raising the point the other day that a lot of the vacancies that we are advertising, we may be able to get persons from our neighbors, our colleagues, you know, to come and take up some of these posts. Of course, things has to be done properly. Properly vetted, and to make sure that things they understand the Montserrat way of doing things and so on. But that's a different topic altogether. So what I'm just promoting the idea is how we could develop more the idea of regional cooperation.
Well, sometimes I get away from the Montserrat way of doing things. We probably need to say the correct way of doing things. It's internationally accepted. We can't stick with what we, you know, there's a bit of cultural training that might be necessary, but what we want is things to be done properly.
And that. If you're watching us, you'll see that the troops are now reaching the Salem Center and that level road, and it'll be much easier now to get across there. But even the young kids at the back, even though they have been offered a ride in the buses, they are not too keen on taking up that offer. So if you're looking at the YouTube streaming, you will see the troops, as I said, just getting to the top of the hill by the Methodist Church, and then they'll be making their way across to the secondary school.
Salem Center.
Salem Center and into the secondary school. Let me now come back here to say another splendid event. The weather was cooperative. Should I say that?
Oh yes, it was. Oh yes, it was. It could have been hotter. It could have rained.
Yeah, it was really good. The cloud cover helped.
Yes.
And we're hoping with the streaming like this, you know, you could go back and look at it, and we could see areas where we can improve. But having regard to the fact of our small population, we're just over 4,000 people, and we have those who are dedicated, and we must always try and find a way to reward their dedication, give them recognition, so that others will see and be encouraged to join and be part. The Royal Montserrat Defence Force has been going on since 1898, unbroken, and made up solely of volunteers. It's not a paid job. So, they're coming, they're preparing the parade, the format, the order of the parade, and coming here to do their work. We must compliment them. Let me take the time also to compliment the adjutant himself, Captain Glenroy Foster. That's a busy bee. That's the way. He is the one who works with all the ladies and in the office of the deputy governor. Coordinate all these things behind the scene, calling meetings, making sure we get the numbers right, the people for award, the names, all sorted out. And he come here today and has taken command of that parade. And I was searching to see if I could come up with a little error so that I could say something to him. I have not come across any. He did very well today, but you remind me of back in my days when I used to.
I was actually waiting for that.
Yes, I mean,
what we have to say we want something done about the boys.
Yes,
when I looked on the parade and I didn't see the boys brigade, the scouts and so forth, I'm just wondering what we can do and how we can help in any way.
I lower my voice now because this is not a nice one. I took the challenge. If you remember last year when we were here and we were talking about that, I went around and had a discussion with former leaders of this group, and they, I could literally recount if you wish me to on one or two things that it's cause their zeal and zest to wane. And one of them is say, look, all the things they have to do, that things we take for granted, eh? So if you're going to form a scout troop, you need to register it.
Yes.
And you need to, any money you collect with it, the $1 a week they bring for the transport, you have to account for it. You have to come with proper accounts. And you have to file your returns. You have to make sure they are registered as an NPO. And if anything goes wrong, you have to take the responsibility. And then, of course, we're dealing with young people. You have the responsibility of making sure that they get home safely. So all these responsibilities piling up.
Without support.
Without support. And you're just volunteering and trying to be helpful. It's not encouraging on its own. So, yeah, it's something to talk about. Maybe we need to go back and get this done through the MIACs, the National Youth Council, or coordinate, that deals with those things. For example, if I'm coming to train the little boys how to tie a knot and how to go hiking, let somebody in some office someplace deal with the matters of counting how much $10 we get per week or whatever it is and give those statements. But to ask me to do it as a volunteer, oh, come on.
But do you do it for probably only $200 in the bank account?
Yes.
So somewhere along the line we need a threshold.
Yes. Well, again, that opens another can of worms. But there are ways in which it could be done. Where you have the National Youth, there's an office that deals with youth affairs. They come in and help with the paperwork part of these little programs. So you have the list of and every week you get the copy of the attendance register or whatever it may be, and do the paperwork. But when you want the volunteers to be out there living their life and volunteering and still having to be held accountable for a lot of things, it is not easy. And I'm only putting it in a nice way, how it was recounted back to me when we went out trying to get these organizations.
What happens elsewhere? You have to check on that.
Well, in other places they don't have this strict requirement that having to do certain things. But for example, like in some places the Boys Brigade are normally linked with the Methodist.
I understand. The church. Yes.
The Scouts are normally linked with the Department of Youth or wherever. So it may need some planning. But I accept that going forward, we hope the Pathfinders and so on are linked with their church. So whatever they do is done through the church arrangement.
Are we going to challenge MIACs and so forth to look into the problems?
That's where we need, yes.
And put them forward so that changes can be made.
I'm told that we now have Mrs. Ann Thomas in charge of MIACs. So it's one of those things we could raise.
And I'm hoping she's listening.
Yes, that we could see how we could get a lot of these youth movements going, because there are people out there who are willing. It's just that the additional burden and so on to take on can be challenging.
Yeah, clearly there needs to be some research done, and I was just there listening with interest to both of you dissecting, and looking sorry, at the possibility of reviving the Boys and Girls Brigade and the Scouts and so on. But a lot of work needs to be done, in terms of looking at what the issues are.
And you see, sometimes even for busy people, like me for instance, I wouldn't mind coming and doing sessions.
You're busy?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just touching you. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners.
Man here.
Yeah, we are very happy to have you with us today for the commemoration of His Majesty the King's 77th birthday parade. And so on behalf of Captains John Skerritt, I'm not going to get into all the other names that Captain Peter W.A. White would call. And of course, on behalf of Captain White himself, we want to say thank you very much for tuning in and listening to us today as we brought you commentary on the parade. And if God wills, we are hoping to do it another time. So thank you very much on behalf of both captains, James White Jr., saying so long for now.
All the best.